My name is Teresa Lockwood. I reside in Violin, New Jersey, and I'm just going to record William Clay and going on and ranting on about his this whole idea of unconditional love. Now, I just looked it up, okay, and yeah, basically says what I have been saying. The acceptance of the things of God, who doesn't reject a sin. That's what it says. Okay. So, hold on. You use of the phrase unconditional love may originate with those who want to present God as one who will not object to sin. Okay, so that's a person's. Hold on. Now, this is the thing. Every time I got cyberbullied online by these churchians, especially these Pentecostals, every time I corrected something by the word of God or gave knowledge, even in the secular world, that basically spoke against the wrong, okay? And media or what have you and all these things or whatever, corrected them and gave knowledge and insight. Here come the trolls, most of them from the Pentecostal atheist, anti-theist atheism. There's a lot of anti-theist atheism among Pentecostals, by the way. And if you speak against immorality, okay, and or disagree with any of their occult society and their false ideologies and all these other things, they will sit there and start ranting off unconditional love and sitting there telling me, oh, you're supposed to forgive. Okay? Taking forgiveness all out of proportion or whatever. And it always came down to, yes, I mean, the meaning of it is obvious and right there. Okay? So, hold on. So this guy is I don't know. I checked it. Like, I've studied like these this agape term of love or whatever. It actually originates in a pagan love feast, which is actually an orgy feast, by the way. So he keeps ranting off on it. Agape love, agape love. Now these churchian people are told that is basically the ultimate love or what have you. So I think I may have mentioned it like once or twice, and I was just like, wait a minute. Before I even go there, let me research this word. I first heard it actually, oh my gosh. I'm gonna itch my eye, sorry. In this cult church. Now, I just want to record this for a second. I just did another video and basically, yeah, a little taunt against his words. Now, he does say something in an opposite. Okay, I don't know why it won't enlarge. But this is a thing. I'm reading this body language here, right? And I'm sitting here kind of like laughing at it. Yeah, making fun of him in a way. I went on this, I usually watch videos and I get very, very angry because, like, his doctrines are just, like, so repulsive, okay, and it's sad because he's mixing my words in with his false evil doctrines, and I'm really, really, really frustrated about that. So, and the thing is, it's really strange because he describes Jesus, he's describing me, and then he basically describes this Antichrist Jesus, which actually reflects him, and it's really, really disturbing. Gotta do another video about that. But he basically puts a twist on it. It all depends. You have to listen to the words really carefully. When he's sitting there describing, he's sitting there claiming that Jesus, there was no place he couldn't go or whatever. And then he's sitting there describing all the people who he encountered and things like that, which is actually a description of me. And he's using radical now. I'm being made fun of basically because I'm calling myself a radical Christian. That actually started because of the manipulation that was going on, and I heard it when I was sitting there when people were like ranting off about radical Islam and all this other stuff. But the thing is like, of course, like I speak against and I'm like, it's radical, no, more like irradical. I tried to look it up to see if it's a word. I'm not even sure I didn't mean a clear answer on that. But I was like, I use it like, anyway, I'm just gonna go on. So I'm like, it's more like irradical. So, the thing is that, it's like irreligious. They're condemning me for being religious. No, Islam is not a religion. Islam is like a terrorist group, obviously. Yes, their ideologies do come out of the Quran, by the way. I am the one who basically, the government was wondering where their ideologies come from, and then they're sitting there, claiming that, U.S. Central Intelligence created ISIS and all this other stuff. It does not depict, though, what they are practicing. And what they are practicing, whether they use them, trained them, or whatever, what they did is train, basically terrorists. But regardless, their ideologies do come right out of the Quran. So, and you have the so-called president and all these other things. And yes, I am of the Republican government, by the way, a constitutional Republican government. But the thing is that yeah. So the thing is, they were trying to pin that on, like ISIS and things like that, and it was just like, wow, they're uprooting the wheat with tares again. Like I keep seeing this over and over and over, uprooting the wheat with tares. So they're basically using that to suppress change anywhere else. Okay? So he's repeating my words in here in regards to radical being changed or whatever, and those are my words that I've been speaking or whatever, and I actually have a pic that I put on my Facebook. It's been there for like a couple of years or so, and I call myself a radical extremist Christian or whatever, because they were using an evil to stigmatize words to suppress other people. So there was a lot of manipulation going on. This is like my observation and my view that I was like discerning as all these things were happening. And I was the only one that basically said something about it. So anyway, so off from that, that's the other thing. I'm watching this guy, and he does his thing, right? And he's like acting like really tough, and he's moving. I'm going to record it in a second. And he's moving, acting like he just did something, right? Now, it's good that I can sit there. I'm sitting there trying to find ways to sit there and laugh at things because I get so upset and angry. It takes me like a week to get through. I'm actually still working on it. I don't know if I did start watching this Sunday. I'm only doing bits and pieces. And, but I'm just sitting there. So I'm starting to laugh at him, which is helping a little bit dealing with these issues. And I just did a very controversial video on purpose. But the thing is that I have to I gotta record this. Like, he's basically promoting an atheistic. Oh, let me just record. I don't know what to record first. Oh my gosh, let me just record this.
Now that you figured it out, now here comes the fun. He wants to empower you to love with the will of God.
Oh, the pun is
by being unconditional.
Look. Yeah. I just did something.
All of our natural person's love, eros, storge, and philia is all conditional. It's all based in a condition.
Listen
Do
to
you
this.
have to love me a certain way in order for me to love you? See, the one thing you have to understand about this love, it's unconquerable. Nothing can conquer it because it isn't your love, it's his love. See, it can't be conquered. Anytime that your love is being conquered, you have to understand that you're living in your love. If you're living in his love, it's unconquerable. Nothing can conquer the love of God. It's invincible. Nothing can stop it.
Okay, that's
no
true,
matter how
but
many times they don't talk to you, or how many times they don't do what you want to do, or how many times
he does this thing I don't really know, and I actually know for a fact he has visited my old false pastor as a child because he was copying him. He does these things where he copies people. While we share different, we exchange different encounters with people or whatever, but he was doing it deliberately. Like, for instance, he was sitting there saying, good morning, good morning, good morning, and he does this thing or whatever, and I was just like, he has encountered him somehow, or is encountering somebody that is mimicking him. I'm going to just throw that in there. It's okay if nobody understood that. He will. The thing is, yeah, he is watching my videos, or somebody else is, and having them basically copy me or something. I don't know what's going on. So, anyway, but the thing is, like, he's walking around like he acted like he just did something. Now, this is the thing. So he's putting these perverse false loves. Philia is perverted love, by the way. Okay? We all know that. Now, people do play on words, put false meanings on words, and people can adapt something that is a false meaning. Okay? This happens, especially confusion of language, which they like to do. They have done that to me. Actually, you used the whole nation to actually change the meaning of a word. That was the word rhetorical, by the way. Yeah, it was all revolved around them in the Violent Police Department. Because they taught the word rhetorical, so they try to put a false meaning on it to basically attack me. Because, well, I'm Christian and I interpret the Bible. Okay? And, I used the word rhetorical, so they had to put a false meaning on it and do all these things. So is this what's happening here? I don't know what's happening here. So apparently these words, philia and all that, they changed the meaning online. Yes, they did. They really did. Like, I checked it out. And they changed it all. So he's teaching these perverse false loves. Okay? Carnal loves, false loves. And putting false meanings on it, and then he's sitting there. So he's talking about bringing up the unconditional love. Now listen very carefully. This is what I'm discerning here. So he just sat there and said the other loves are conditional. Then he sits there and said Then he goes off about unconditional love. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know how to listen to that.
You, or how many times they reject you. No matter how many times, this love is invincible. It's always initiating. It doesn't wait to be initiated. It doesn't say.
And he's playing on words here because I was basically really, really, really sick and traumatized. I was actually just bullied in a Wawa, most likely that they set up, by the way. I was really distressed and upset. I was brought to this church. They were having a vigil. And the thing is, he likes to puppet people. That's what he does. And he'll sit there, and he uses retaliation tactics. Not everything that he does is based on a retaliation, per se. But he will sit there and control an issue just to push somebody in a position or place to wherever he wants them. And set up all these things like he does this. So, I want to be taken here. They're like, well, why don't you just come to the church or what have you? This person shows up. That would be one of my enemies committing perjury against me, W.G. Minaj, and takes me here. And so I just sit in this room, and he comes in and sits in. And I was thinking about leaving because he was sitting on the opposite side of the room, like across the way. And I was just like, I didn't know what to do, But I was hoping he would just leave, but he didn't. He just sat there. And I asked a question, and I was actually just reflecting on me as actually a child, and I wanted to know if he believed if God brings us into prayer, right? Yes, this is what I was like focusing on, meditating on my experience with God, because my prayer changed around like 7 years old, praying in spirit and not anything that the Church Society of Man did or whatever. I had experience with God in the middle of the woods, okay, and it basically changed everything. And like I had the adopted dad or whatever, dad, they would pray every day at dinner or whatever, but it completely changed in my interaction with, um, listening to their prayer was completely different, just completely altered and changed. It was no longer prayer. Now, it wasn't something that was bad or, and anything like that or whatever. It was all different. So, that was what I was actually reflecting on prayer, and God teaching me to pray, actually, which was completely different than everybody else that was surrounded by or what have you. So, I'm not talking about like later on in life, where everything was like cultically abused or whatever. At that time, it wasn't, or that I perceived any around me or what have you. I was living in Georgia at the time. So, I was just, I don't know, I went back to, it's kind of like, I was so sick, and I had such, like, a migraine headache. It literally felt like my head was literally cracked, like, right here, just like literally. That's what it felt like. And, I just felt like, I was, like, really sick, and, I just asked him, I said, do you believe that God brings us into prayer? It's God that brings us into prayer. And he said, I believe that God initiates prayer. No, I'm sorry. I said that in reflection to what I said. I believe that God initiates us. Okay? He's playing on words. Now, he's sitting there, he did things very, very mysterious and very scary. Like, I was scared of him. I really was. Because I didn't know what he was talking about when he would just kick out these random things. And he answered something strange every time, like, I said something or whatever. Like, I'm going to go on. I'm going to record this.
Well, I'm not going to call you unless you call me. And I'm not going to text you unless you text me. And I'm not going to be nice to you unless you're nice to me. No. See, this love initiates. God is always the initiator in relation. And this love inside of us does the same thing.
He's just playing on these words, and I get really bothered, and I even said that. I'm just like, you're like a dark eclipse, trying to black out the light, or whatever. He might have got very, very angry with that. More abuse and retaliation against me. And it connected to that particular statement I said, whatever, but he basically, if he was of the Holy Spirit, he would have understood. Knew anything about the Holy Spirit, he would have understood. But this is an egotistical, arrogant act that he puts on. And
Storge and Philia. See, therefore it comes to the fact that you need
he's calling Philia brotherly love. No. Philia is perverted love. It's a false love. That's why they call them pedophiles, pedophilias. So is somebody getting him to teach these things? Now there's atheists in the police department, and the thing is, they use them to persecute me because I was Christian. I really believe some of the things that he has done to me was being misled by the lies of the violent police department who were persecuting me because I was Christian, and I had people from different angles who was attacking me. All right. Well, because of the light within me. So, which I basically do not reflect hardly anymore because to deprive life and light. Okay? So, of course, light, light is going to shine. That's what's going to happen. And I actually do sympathize and empathize with Jeremiah, and just posted about it, reflecting on it, and basically understanding, like I know, like I experienced, like hiding the light from people. Do not speak. I'm going to go on.
Try to just will yourself to love someone, and you muster up this strength.
So then he basically sits there, while he's sitting there describing things from me, of the Christ within me, he also sits there and is making up all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it could be reflected to anybody, but making up all kinds of things and limiting, and basically it's like he was trying to reconform to this false love of the world. Okay, and basically, which is, well, that false. As unconditional love is definitely anti-theist, and it's lawless. It's completely lawless, and it basically stops from people speaking against wrong. But he's even said that, but he said the opposite also. But he's even said things like, let people violate you, and they're taken out of context, like, Jesus, and they slap you on one cheek, turn to them the other. So I can't get into that because I'm going to make this that teaching. I don't want to make this too long, but it is. But the unconditional love thing is a lawless. Now he did mention and tried to correct his other things using my words or whatever, and I'm not talking about let people violate your boundaries. Then he turns around and does that. Like, I mean, I'm gonna end with that because I actually wanted to make this short video about his area. He does this thing, like he does his stance thing, like he just like, now what? Now what? Yeah, I just did something. As he does this. So I just recorded it. So I'm going to end with that.